All right, what's going on, everybody? This is Gabriel, the ProActivator, and welcome to the ProActivators podcast. Today, I have a good person that I met at a Go High Level event a few weeks ago. And we had a candid conversation, and I invited him over to the podcast. This is Mr. Seth Wixtrom. How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing fantastic, Gabriel. It's so good to be here with you today.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I appreciate you taking the time to dive into our self development podcast. Now, let me just give you a clear idea of what is a proactivator. A proactivator is somebody who has habits that edify other people, and they also have they terminate bad habits that don't serve them, and with that they become a pillar of force for other people to follow. And the proactivators, we have the six pillars, which is faith, fitness, family, finances, focus, and fulfillment. So today, Seth, we're gonna talk about each of them
Sure.
and where you fall in each of those pillars, and we're gonna dive in to see what kind of proactivator you are, brother. Because I have a feeling, man, that there's a lot of good nuggets that you're gonna give us. And so, but before we start, can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So I'm a freelancer working in the technology space, specifically in the high level space. So that's who I am professionally. I'm married to my wife, Beth, of 10 years now, and we have four boys, and we live out in the woods, and yeah, we love it.
Nice, man. Nice. Wow. Four boys, brother. I got two boys. So, man, you're double.
Our house is crazy.
Nice. Okay, that's cool. All right. What are the ages?
9, 8, 5, and 3.
9, 8, 5, and 3. Okay. Wow. So you had a little gap of, you had a little break,
A
and the
little bit.
5 and
Yep.
3. Yeah.
Yep. We have the big
Okay.
boys and then we have the little boys.
Okay. Nice, man.
Yep.
All right, Seth. So the first pillar that we're gonna dive into is faith. Everything we do in life requires faith. There could be people that maybe they're not believers,
Mm-hmm.
but my friend, they require faith to get in their cars, all the way to their lives. They need some kind of belief, right? They can't just
Yes.
not believe, But I personally believe in Christ. I'm a born again Christian for man, I'm 43 now. I will say since I was 11, you know,
Sure.
and so that's where I put my faith in. But I'm wondering, Seth, tell me about where do you put your faith, and what does that mean to you?
Oh, sure. Faith is definitely the core pillar that I try to build my life on. I also am a Christian. I was raised in a Christian family, Christian church, um, and uh, born again through the power of Jesus Christ.
Amen.
Um, and that really has very much shaped my journey to this point. We can speak of faith in a religious standpoint. There's also how that faith manifests itself pragmatically in our lives. And so a lot of times you end up taking a leap, not knowing how it's going to turn out, but trusting in a higher power. In this case, trusting that God cares for us. He cares for our physical needs. Like the Bible says that He cares for the sparrows. And are we not of greater worth than sparrows? And so just trusting that God will sustain us and provide us what we need. Um, especially spiritually, but also God cares about the more quote unquote mundane things of our life.
Okay. Seth, I like to know in your own personal life where if you can have an honest conversation with yourself and rate yourself, one being that, I'm sorry, Jesus who, to 10 uh, being like, you know what, Gabriel, I can't really think of anything else that I could do in my life to give to the Lord. Like that's how tight I am with Christ,
Sure.
right? So, where do you fall in there?
I would rate myself like a 7 or an 8.
Okay.
Um, and where I would say that I'm really lacking, where I feel I'm lacking on that is um, leading and being a spiritual example for my family, for my wife, and for my boys. There's definitely stuff that I could get better at in that regard.
Okay, well, I'm interested as like why a 7 or 8? Like, what is it that you do in your life? Like, what are the habits that you've acquired? What do you? What is it that makes you a 7 or 8? Because that's a pretty high number. So I'm interested to find out like what is it that gets you there to that point.
I guess I would say that it's I have a level of maybe childlike faith. The last couple years of our life, in particular, has been um, both the most challenging for us, um, but also like the most fulfilling. And there's been uh, a lot of leaps of faith where I felt like God sustained us through that. Um, so just the childlike faith of trusting how God's going to provide for us. Like there's been good times and there's been bad times, but I've lost count of the number of times where there were bills due and I had no idea how I was going to pay them, and the money showed up 24 hours before I needed it.
Wow.
And so just the number of times that that has happened um, has blown me away, and
Hmm.
just continuing to trust that okay, God's got us.
Nice. Now, what are the things that in your life you say that you know what, Gabriel? I'm not a 9 or a 10 because there's just this one area that I need to fix, and I wish that I could do it. Like, do you have anything specific?
Oh man. Um yes, for this particular pillar, and this speaks so much to the topic of your podcast, and just not being a procrastinator. I struggle mightily to spend time with God on a consistent basis,
Mm.
where I'm like, turn off all the distractions, put the phone aside, stop scrolling YouTube shorts, and say, okay, I need to intentionally take time um, to listen to what God has to say to me through His Word.
Okay, nice, man. So look, Seth. Normally next year we're gonna have another podcast. Hopefully, you and me. And the goal is say, hey, Seth, where are you in your pillar number one, in your
Sure.
faith pillar. And the idea is for us to become proactivators.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what, Gabriel? I've improved. Or, hey, I'm still struggling with that. Whatever it is, we wanna do life here, bro. So but that's awesome, man. And yes, we struggle with that, and a lot of people do. So, but hey, man, a seven hour is pretty good. So you're not that far off to having that, just there's that one shift in able for you to have that really close relationship with the Lord, and you know it. and verbalizing it and putting it out there, it means a lot because now it's out there, bro. So
Yes. Yep.
nice. All right, Seth, we want to dive into the fitness area of our lives. So why don't you go ahead and tell the audience, where do you fall in this pillar?
Yeah, I would rate myself a 2 or a 3.
Okay, well, tell me why so low.
Sure. So if you think of these 6 pillars as spokes on a wheel, and there's times in your life where sometimes you rate yourself better on one than the other, and your wheel gets out of balance. So that's definitely what's happened the last couple years for me, related to like I've had a lot of time and energy into the finance pillar and almost nothing into the fitness pillar. I used to be in really good shape, um, and maybe we can cover this in other parts of the podcast here. But my background originally is in the trades. I grew up blue collar. I was a construction worker, and so being a construction worker, you're in really good shape because you're doing physical stuff all the time. Um, so 10 years ago, I was in fantastic shape. And then I transitioned over to a different occupation, and I spend all my time sitting at a desk. Um, and so fitness and physical activity just totally dropped off a cliff. So I have had great aspirations of fixing that, but I haven't had the mental bandwidth to repair that as of yet. I do have plans to do a lot of mountain biking. I love mountain biking. My boys are just getting to the age now where they love mountain biking. And we took them out on some trails for the first time this summer, and they loved it. So one of the goals for next year is really to spend a lot of time biking with my boys. And that way, the last 2 years has kind of been a tug between, okay, do I spend time with my family, or do I do what it takes to stay in shape? And I think next year I can combine those two together.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Now, do you know? Now, are you like? Do you want to work out as far as any physical, like lifting or any classes that you want to take, or do you just want to just be more active in the outdoors?
If I did anything in the gym, I would do CrossFit. I was first exposed to CrossFit by my grandfather 15 years ago, and he was doing. He was a very fit person. He ran, multiple marathons in his 50s, and he was doing CrossFit at the age of 80.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was my first exposure to that, and I love the CrossFit approach, um, where they combine, it's not just strength but also agility, and I forget all the different core tenets of the fitness philosophy, but I like how it's a very balanced, well-rounded approach.
Well, I don't know if what part of the podcast, you said you heard some of the podcasts that I had before, but I do CrossFit, bro.
Oh, do you?
Uh,
Excellent. I did not know
every
that.
day. Every day, Monday to Friday, I'm there, 7 a.m., I'm there, bro.
Nice.
And I'm not just one of the guys, I'm the guy. I'm the rabbit that they have to follow, because I
Nice.
push my standards higher, so, but yeah, some of the guys there, they're a little bit older. Some of them in their 50s, but they've been doing CrossFit for years now.
Sure.
I just started it I'm on my third year now.
Okay.
Well, I'm about, it'll be 3 years, like 5 months from now.
Okay.
So, but yeah, man, I love it, bro. It's a part of my life now, and I wouldn't give it up for anything.
Sure.
I've gotten hurt here and there, but I keep going. I manage my injuries, and I just keep going. I'm not gonna because I made a mistake years ago where I allowed a an injury to keep me from the gym, and I just went downhill from there. And I'm not gonna ever allow that again, bro, because I used that as an excuse. And yeah, bro. So,
Sure.
but yeah, man, I appreciate you mentioning CrossFit, and it's an amazing workout. I love the group aspect of the workout, and people push you, bro. I love rubbing shoulders with people because I love the fact that they push me,
Sure.
and I push them.
Yep. Well, and
So
part
that's what I love
part
about
of
it.
what's pushing me now is my boys, my 9 and 8-year-old. They read some book about these kids that had this little running competition, and they were doing sit-ups and push-ups and whatever, and they're like, "Oh, let's do that." And so I have to struggle. Like I can still beat them in the number of push-ups, but my 8-year-old can outdo me in sit-ups. So
Oh wow.
they're uh, they're good motivation.
Okay. Well, Seth, we have a couple of really good pillars to look forward next year.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So let's move on to the family pillar, bro, because
Sure.
I think you're gonna have a strong one here. So tell me about your family pillar one being like you're totally disconnected from your family, you're not really there. To 10, bro, you're there, man. You're there for every situation, anything that happens, boom, there you are. So
Yep.
where do you fall in this pillar?
I would rate myself an 8 or a 9. I have spent a tremendous amount of time and energy on this particular pillar over the last 2 years. And in fact, a big part of my journey has been the goal has been to have a flexible schedule and to be able to prioritize family stuff. So, and maybe this would be a good um, point to hop back here. So, I grew up in the trades and I like working with my hands. I like the people that I worked with. What I didn't like was the fact that I was limited. I had to be there to put in the time to make the money. And, I'm in Michigan, and Michigan is cold a big chunk of the year, and it's not super fun to work outside in the snow. Um,
Hmm.
so I always had this dream for my income to be location independent. So I wanted, you know, location independence, and I wanted a flexible schedule. Um, and so that led me on this 15-year journey to get where I'm at today. And over the last 2 years, I've been very blessed to have that flexible schedule. Um, Still working on the location independence um, part because we've got some stuff that's tying us to where we're at that's just outside of my control. But yeah, the last 2 years, I've been able to prioritize spending time with my family. I work from home with a home office. I have lunch with my boys almost every day. My wife is a stay at home mom. Um, we decided to homeschool our children. I was homeschooled K through
Mm.
12, and so I wanted to be able to provide my children that same type of education. I loved um, being homeschooled and just to have a self-directed education. And that was something that I continued into my adult years. In the world that we're in right now, your only uh, your only way to keep up with the evolving job market is to be a fast learner. If
Mm.
you think that you're going to be in a job and you're going to be doing the same thing for 30 years without having to learn anything, um, I mean, you're going to have a really rough time. That was, 50 or 100 years ago. That's the way the job market worked. That's not how it works anymore. You have to continually learn. Um, so yeah, um, I love spending time with my family, doing stuff with my boys. um, being able to play with them. Um, and I always wanted to be able to raise a group of little men. And now I have a
Mm.
group of little men. And so um, it's that desire to raise them to be productive, healthy members of society, but also to provide them something that um, I didn't have, I don't have in my family relationship is I'm not real close with my dad, which is something that makes me really sad. Like I wish I was. And so to be able to raise my children in a way that when they're adults, we're still friends. I'm not just always dad. Like
Mm.
they look to me for a relationship that's outside of the familial bond. Like hopefully I can provide friendship, mentorship, encouragement long after they've left our house.
Okay. Yeah, man, that's really good, Seth. I really admire the decisions that you've made and the way that you run your family. That's awesome, brother. I'll tell you a little. One of the things that has really impacted my family, which I started years ago with my two boys and my wife, is that every Saturday morning at 7 a.m., we do what is called family meetings.
Mm,
So just like, and it's a formal meeting,
okay.
we don't eat. It's not like we're doing the meeting while we're eating. No, it's a formal meeting. I print out 4 sheets of paper and I give everybody a sheet of paper on what we're going to talk about
Okay.
for that specific meeting. And Seth, what that has done to us is bring alignment, bring
Yeah.
direction. Yes. The thing is, Seth, companies do it. I see companies, they have meetings all the time. Churches have meetings all the time with their staff members and everything. But we don't have meetings with our families, bro. It's like we're running a household.
Yes.
Things happen, you know. We have to follow schedules. There's chores that need to be done. There's schedules that need to be followed. There's uh, there there's relationships dynamics that need to be brought up, and they come up in the meetings. So, hey, man, the other day I didn't appreciate you doing that.
Agenda look like?
Okay, so the first thing that we talk about is we talk about celebrations and victories. You know, what did, for example, one of my sons' name is Enzo. Enzo, maybe I, throughout the week, will take notes on something that I saw Enzo doing, or my boy Liam doing, or maybe my wife, and I take note of that. You know, so I'll start picking up things throughout the week of something that I can really pinpoint, so that when the meeting comes, I'll put it in there. But then it's open because I can only see what I see. So we talk about celebrations. Hey, Enzo, congratulations, man. You got a 26.19 on the race, and you have a new PR, bro. Awesome, bro. And we all applaud, his victory. Maybe my son Liam, he passed a PG test, which he was really studying for throughout the weekend, and I saw throughout the week that he said that maybe through in dinner that he passed it, and then I'll bring it up in the meeting, and then they can share any victories on their own. I'll put in the ones that I found myself, and then they'll say something. Oh, Dad, I was proud of you because you wash Mom's car and your car, so that was good, man. Congrats. Little things, good. It doesn't matter. Oh man, that dinner, that those ribs, man, they were really good. On Friday or Thursday, whatever. So we talk about celebrations. After we talk about celebrations, then we talk about things that we need to improve. All right, guys, so let's talk about things that need to be improved. How is our morning schedule going? How is our, after we come back from school, how is that going? How's that schedule going? What needs to be improved? Are you guys throwing out your garbage without nobody telling you? Are you taking out the dishes from the dishwasher? Are you getting in the car before mom and not be the one to be pushed, but be the one who's there already? So
Sure.
little things like that, little things, Seth, that we get to talk about and improve throughout our meetings. Sometimes, Seth, the meetings are not that nice. Sometimes
Well,
sometimes I have to, sometimes we have to bring something up that is serious stuff, bro. Hey,
huh.
what happened here? You don't do that. You don't disrespect like that. Or sometimes I,
Yep.
spoke in a way that I wasn't supposed to, and they didn't really like it, and so I have to apologize.
Yep.
You guys, you're right. I'm sorry. I apologize. You're right about that. And then so we talk about improvements. We talk about finances. We talk about the budget. How we need to be open with our boys about our budget. Are we staying on budget? Are we saving? Are we investing? How are we giving? So all those things get talked about in the meeting because they have to learn how to manage money, something that they don't get taught in schools,
Right. For sure.
right? So we have to show them this is how it's done. We follow a budget line by line, and we make sure we stick to it. It's not always perfect, but it's got to be done. So we're teaching them that. And eh, so yes, those are the main things, and we just dive into those areas. And but yeah, man, we've been doing that since man. Right now they're 15, maybe 5 years now.
Okay. I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
yeah, bro.
And we've
Yeah.
done some aspects of that in a little bit of a different way. About 6 months ago, we started doing what we call the special plate at dinner. So we have this
Okay.
one particular plate, and we rotate around each night of the week. A different person gets the special plate, and that person says grace for the meal. And then we go around and we say what we like or appreciate about that person. So a little bit similar
Mm,
to the victories thing that you're talking about. My kids
celebration.
are a
Yeah,
little bit
awesome, bro.
younger, so I'm still teaching them what it means to be a good finder and to edify their brothers. And the 3-year-old, he'll come up with repetitive stuff, but um, just teaching them to look for the good and what they can appreciate about their sibling, as opposed to just letting them focus on, oh, he always hits me or whatever it happens to be.
No, that's really good. One thing says that I haven't shied away from is being very direct with them
Mm,
in a loving way.
sure.
With my kids, I'm direct. I give them a lot of love, but when they need to be told something, hey man, that's not good. You don't do that.
That's right.
You don't disrespect your mom.
Oh,
You
for
don't
sure.
talk back.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like being direct. It's like the nice things are nice, but I feel, Seth, that as a society, I don't know if you agree with me or not, but as a society, we become very soft.
Yes, I totally
Like
agree.
we get, like people get like kids get really and I see it coming into my house,
Mm-hmm.
and my wife, sometimes she tries to, because my wife is a teacher,
Okay.
so she gets a little bit of that exterior type of, but no, we don't bring that into our house. They need to toughen up, man, because life is not gonna be easy. Once they go out there, it's gonna be tough.
That's right.
So they can be soft. So yeah, man, I'm glad that you agree with that, because that's a topic that we need to really dive into and focus on.
Yep, absolutely. And a lot of the undercurrent here of um, maybe what each of us are bringing as a presupposition to the family conversation is that dad's responsible and dad's the leader,
Hmm.
and
That's right.
um, you know our society definitely is not favorable to that particular view, but that's the prerequisite to this conversation.
That's right. Yeah. Awesome, brother. Well, I really love your viewpoint and the things that you do with your family, brother. And I commend you for that. That's awesome.
Thank
We
you.
need more people like you. You know.
Yeah, and I appreciate the ideas that you're giving me. This is great.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's gonna probably elevate you to a 10, brother. You start implementing that, bro.
See,
Woo! All right. Well, first, let's dive into the pillar of finances. So, in the pillar of finances, it's a little tricky because most people think, oh, is what you earned, but it's not what you earned. It's how are you a steward of what you have? Are you? So that's because I don't mind. This, hey, it doesn't matter. You make $20,000 a year. It doesn't matter. It's how good of a steward are you
yes,
with what you have been entrusted with. And so, and yes, sometimes I might interview people that are doing really well financially, but it, that's because they were a good steward and
yes,
they've been managing their growth financially, which is great. But it doesn't matter the level of income that you have or wealth that you have. It just matters how well have you have managed that. So, in a scale from 1 to 10, Seth, how would you rate yourself in how good of a steward you are in the management of your income?
sure. 6 or 7, I would say. And that's significantly higher than I would have rated how I was doing 2, 3, 4 years ago. And the reason that I say that, over the last 2 years in particular, as we've gone through financial droughts and financial successes, it has really been hammered home to me that the money that we have is not ours. Like you said, we're stewards. Um, just trusting that, okay, God is the giver of all good things here, and ultimately everything is His. And so I just have it for a little while, and to stop um, grasping for every penny. Um, and the extreme example of this would be someone that's a hoarder. Um, I'm not sure if you've interacted with anyone that's a hoarder, but it really is a
I have.
spiritual. I would say it's primarily a spiritual issue before it's a mental issue, where someone has such a scarcity mentality that they're trying to hang on to every last little thing. I have this bottle of something over here, and I've never used it before, and but I need to hang on to it just in case I might need it 10 years from now. I'm going to have that take up space in my house. And it just leads to this inability to even throw away trash. Um, we have a friend that is uh, this type of person, and our church has worked very hard to try to help her. Um, and we went over to her house to do some cleaning, and she's doing great. She's learning through this. But we filled a 30-yard dumpster of trash out of her house,
Wow.
and that was only half of the stuff
Hmm.
that she had there. And so to bring this back around, the where the rubber met the road for me is, okay. The Bible speaks about tithing, and you can have a discussion about, does that mean 10%? Does that mean whatever? I'm not so much concerned about the percentage. What I did learn through this season is that giving as a lifestyle choice helps keep your perspective on the right things, instead of you know focusing so much on what you have or what you don't have. Realize that this is all just material stuff. None of money's not an eternal thing. Can't take it with you when you leave here. um, and that the relationship that you have with God, the relationship that you have with your family and with your friends and the people around you, is way more important than any amount of money that you could ever make. So that's like the basis, I would say, for how to approach, how I've tried to approach finances, and just using it to enable my priorities, and making sure that that priority is not just accumulating as many toys as I can.
Now, Seth, what do you think? What is it that you need to do in able to get you to that 9 or 10? What is your standard?
Oh man, that's a great question, and I'm honestly not sure, Gabriel. I just don't feel like I'm there yet.
Okay, okay. Is it because of the amount that you want to make is not there yet, or uh, like what do you think it
Well,
might? Is it maybe the management of what you do have that
sure.
is not there yet?
Um, I'm definitely not where I'm at as far as what I want my income to be.
Okay.
So maybe that's the lacking point. But I also know that there's a there's a number at which more money does not equal less problems. At a certain point, more money equals more problems, and it adds complexity to your life. And if you're Elon Musk and you have hundreds of billions of dollars, like there's a lot of energy that goes into just managing what you have. It's metaphorically speaking, like having a house full of stuff.
Yeah, but I will say, as your problem expands, your mind expands in able to deal
This
with
is
those
true.
problems.
This is true. That's a
You know,
great point.
because Elon Musk, I think he plays the game Diablo. I don't know if it's called. I think it's Diablo,
Okay.
and he's #1 in the world, bro.
Oh,
He
is he
plays video
really?
games. Yes, there's a game that he plays. He loves playing, and he's #1 in the world. And it's a very popular game. So he has time to play. I don't know if he does it now, but I know a couple of years ago, that's a thing with him.
Sure.
So it's how you manage your problems. As your income expands, your mind expands. But I think it's the other way around. As your mind expands, your income expands because you're able to manage that. Now you can
Absolutely.
continue growing.
Yes.
Okay, so I think that it seems like for you, I think that you definitely want to get to a point, to a level of income, enabled to allow yourself to get to that, reach that point of, yeah, I'm a 9 or 10 because, I've reached a monthly recurring revenue that I feel really comfortable with.
Mm.
But the other part of it, Seth, is that because the Bible says, if you're faithful in the little, you'll be faithful in a lot,
Parable of the
right? So
talents.
yeah, and so that's why when I talk about the finance pillar, I focus more on the management, on the stewardship,
Yeah.
because that's what's gonna get us to the next level. So and in that pillar, do you feel that you have a hold on the way that you manage, or do you think that you can improve in how you can
I could
manage your income?
definitely improve in how I manage. Um, I would say my default is very reactionary, and I could be a lot more proactive and like telling my money, okay, this is what you're going to be used for, um, and being more intentional about it for sure.
Okay. Okay, awesome, brother. Man, we have a few things that we need to be working on next year, bro. Hey, the spotlight's gonna be on you, bro.
Oh boy.
I will be like, hey, Seth. Remember, 6 months from now, we're gonna have that, session. Where
Hmm.
you at? Oh, snap. All right, cool, brother. All right, so let's move on. Oh, this is one of my favorite pillars because in my life, this pillar right here, brother, changed everything. And this is the pillar of focus. When we focus, right, and we are laser focused, like you were saying, when we focus in our faith, when we focus in our family, we focus in our finances, and you know, things starts happening in our fitness life. Things starts happening. So let me ask you something. Focus is about eradicating distractions,
Mm-hmm.
uh, being locked in, and being on zone. Like that's where you live, in the zone. So one, you're totally distracted. You don't know. You don't even know where you're standing. Every day is kind of like going back and forth, and you're just very reactive. Or 10, you're totally locked in every area of your life. You are very structured, and you when you work, you are in the zone. So where do you fall on this, Seth?
Man, maybe a five.
Okay.
Five.
Now let me ask you something. What makes you a five?
I feel like I've been intentional and proactive, and that's what has allowed me to get to the point that I'm at. Like, if I
Okay.
hadn't been intentional and proactive, I'd still be an employee somewhere and probably not liking my job very much, as opposed to what I do now. I love what I do now. Um, However, improvements in this pillar I know is what is going to allow me to go to the next level. And I just had a conversation about this with my wife the other day, um, where I've got a whole bunch of projects lined up for the month of November and feeling a little bit stressed about, okay, is this too much of a workload for the month? Um, And if I'm not focused and intentional, it will be too much of a workload. But if I'm focused and intentional about my time, cut away the distractions, um, I know that I'll be able to get everything done that needs to get done.
Okay. Um, Let me tell you about why how this pillar changed my life.
Sure. Yeah, please do.
So there's a book called The Seven Habits of Highly Effective People by
Oh,
Dr. Stephen Covey.
I love that book.
Nice. Now I used to teach that book.
Oh, no kidding.
And yes, I used to teach that book at a book club that I started a few years ago because I was fascinated with what I was learning. I did a book report on it on my own, and I listened to the book I don't know how many times. I read the book multiple times, and then I did a book report on it. And then I was feeding myself so much that I needed to really. I used to do it really early in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just consumed with all the information, everything that I was finding out. The paradigm shift that was happening was huge, and I couldn't just contain that to myself, bro. It's like, so I needed to share it. So I opened up a book club. So there's two things from the book that I really love. One, to be proactive, and that's where the ProActivator came from,
Sure.
right? So the ProActivator came from the habit one, be proactive, in combination with the Terminator, which that's a story for another day. But brother, habit three, which is put first things first.
Mm-hmm.
There's a place there. There's a part there that talks about the quadrant of time management.
Yes. Urgent
Seth, the quadrant,
versus
yes, the
important.
quadrant of time management changed my life, brother. And I did a seminar not too long ago, and that's one of the things that I talk about because it goes to focus.
Yes.
So yes, you're right on. Quadrant one is urgent and important. Quadrant 2 is important, but it's not urgent. Quadrant 3 is not important, but we make it urgent. And quadrant 4 is not important and it's not urgent.
Mhm.
And so a lot of us spend a lot of time in quadrant 1 being reactive.
Yes.
We don't really put too much effort in quadrant 2. We neglect it a little bit in certain areas. In quadrant 3, we spend a lot of time there thinking that we're being productive, but in reality, we're just burning time.
Yes.
And then quadrant 4, we just, Netflix, social media, and all that stuff, waste of time.
Yes.
A lot of us, we spend a lot of time in quadrant 1 being reactive to life. And then we do a lot of quadrant 3, and then we go and relax in quadrant 4.
Yes.
And then quadrant 2 gets neglected. So going to in every pillar that we have, okay, requires quadrant 2. Obviously, our faith requires quadrant 2, because you were saying you want to spend more time with the Lord. Well, you need to allocate purposely time to spend with the Lord, right? In quadrant 2, it's fitness and health. You need to allocate some fitness and health in quadrant 2. And then with the family, we have to work in our relationships, not just with our kids, but our mom, the people around us, our family. The investment that we put into them. So the quadrant of time management is where we live, and if we have that insight and we start working around it, then we start managing better, because now we have the awareness. Oh man, you know what? I'm burning time here. What am I doing here? Boom. Let me do quadrant 2. Quadrant 2. I gotta tell you, Seth, for the past few years, I've completely shifted, and 80% of my life, bro, is in quadrant 2, brother.
Amazing.
Yes.
Amazing.
Quadrant 2, and but it requires intentionality. It requires a lot of structure.
Absolutely.
And so I feel in the level that I am right now that, and you know what? And I want to bring people over. I completely eradicated Instagram. I never really liked TikTok. So Facebook, forget about it. I don't even go in there, bro. It's a distraction. It's like an eye candy. Everything's so much to do, right? There's so many things.
Yep.
It's worse than Instagram. And YouTube was the last one that I was kind of like always into, and then until I totally like eradicated YouTube. Once I did that, Seth, and another thing that I did was every time that I went to work, I did a list of everything that I want to do with a time set. I'm gonna do this from 9 to 10. I'm gonna do this. 10 to 11. I'm gonna do that. Whatever it is, I wrote it down on paper on purpose, and then boom, I got to work, and I didn't allow anything else to interrupt that session. Seth, when I continued doing that little by little, and it got boring sometimes, bro. Sometimes I reach for my phone, and then, no, I put it back.
Yeah.
But you have to work through the boredom.
Yeah.
Right? You have to work. Just like when you go to the gym, you have to work through the workout. It's the same thing in our minds. Like, we have to work through the boredom. It doesn't matter. You complete it. But then you get a sense of accomplishment.
Yes.
And then another. And then another. And then another. Bro, to the point where now you feel like unstoppable, Seth. And I want everybody to feel like that, man, but that's how you reach that level of just focus and zone. When you live in the zone, that's where you're at, bro.
It's almost like power.
It is, bro. It is. And you know what happens? I always tell people this. What happens? It's funny that you mentioned that. I'm sure you've seen movies where either The Flash or other fast guys, where everything around them slows down. And then they look around and they go really fast from place to place, and they move the little bullet and the things like that, right?
Yeah.
That's how it feels, bro, because everybody else is just down there, like slow, distracted. But once you have that, man, it's like you see another different world. But you have to be locked in, because it's very easy, very subtle things can start happening. And if you don't have rules in your life to keep you there, then you're gonna drift. It's
Yes.
very easy to drift. Drift is so like, man, it gets you because it's so subtle. And if you don't have rules, it's gonna get you.
Yeah.
So implementing rules is key for everything, Seth. Oh, I have a rule. This is what I do. You have rules. My rule is I go to CrossFit. That's my rule. It's a thing. Nothing can move me away from that. That's my rule. I have a rule. I do my family meetings. That's my rule. Just like I brush my teeth every day, that's my rule. So you add rules to your life. I do my list of everything that I'm gonna do that day. That's my rule. And having that allows you to just keep that structure and just hit it every single day. I have my time that I spend with the Lord. Boom, that's my rule. In the mornings and also on my way to my office, boom, that's when I talk to the Lord. So those are rules in my life. I go to church with my family.
So I have a question for you then.
Mm-hmm.
There's obviously a lot of people in the world that don't live with that level of intentionality and focus. And if I went to them and said, okay, this is the way that high performing, successful people function, why don't you live this way? They would say, oh, that's too hard. I can't do that. That takes too much energy or whatever. What is the motivation that keeps you pushing to stay in that focus mode when things get hard?
Well, the rules that I have implemented in my life have allowed me to stay there. So I don't really need to be motivated because I already applied those rules. Like, you don't need to be motivated to brush your teeth, right? That's just what you do. You don't need to be motivated every time you approach a red light to stop. It's not a motivation. Whether you feel like it or not, you're going to have to stop. That's the law. It's the rule, and you've learned to follow that rule, so you do it. Whether you're late or not, you do it because that's the rule. So how do you stay there? You stay there with the rules that you implemented. Now, why did you implement those rules? Well, people need to be in, like, if I go to, when I do a seminar, I talk to people. My whole point is to inspire people, right? I want to inspire people to live a life right here, because most people, they want to be successful in all those areas. Okay? And so if you want to, this is what it's going to take for you to be successful in all of those areas in your financial life and be a good steward of every of those areas, using the awareness of the quadrant of time management for you to start and it doesn't have to be all like me, bro. I've been doing this for a while. You start little by little, one thing at a time.
Mm-hmm.
You follow one thing. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to implement. 10 minutes of walking. That's how I'm going to start. But then you stick to that. And you don't ever move from there. That's who I am. That's what I do for my health. Yes. And it gets stronger and stronger. And it's a mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then until that's who you are. Oh, I walk every day. That's just who I am. It's automatic. I walk every day. Every time after dinner, I've already changed my clothes to my walking. I cook. I'm the one who cooks at home. I cook. We eat. And then after eating, my wife and kids take care of the dishes. And I'm like, okay, guys, I'll be out for my walk. And that's what I do. I walk for like an hour and 15 minutes, 4 miles every day from Monday to Thursday. And then again on Sunday.
Nice.
Okay, so, but those are rules, Seth. And so with people, look, you motivate people by inspiring them.
Yes.
Okay. When people are inspired, because they don't like where they are, they don't like how their health is, their family, it's a mess, their finances are no good. So they know they need to have, they have to make a change. And able to have that change, if they hear somebody talking about all these high standards, they can get inspired to be able to start following that. And that's how the change comes. So they get motivated They start implementing rules, and then those rules become a part of their lives. And then that's what habit stacking comes in. I read a book called, which is one of my favorite books as well, The Power of Habits. And in that book, they talk about keystone habits. Exercising can be a keystone habit.
Sure.
Because it leads to other areas of your life. And so yeah, that's how I would approach a person who is wanting to make changes in their lives, and how they would make those changes.
Yeah.
All right, Seth. So let me ask you something. If for you to get to a level 9 or 10 on focus, do you already know the things that you need to do, or you still not really sure?
I think there's a certain level of distractions that need to be eliminated. I am not naturally a task-oriented person. I'm by nature a people-oriented person. Like I love having conversations like this. Um, and my work has forced me to grow the task muscle. Um, but I would say that is still fairly weak. And so the discipline of saying, okay, I'm going to have, this is my list of tasks for the day. These are the time slots that I'm going to accomplish them in. I'm not going to respond to that email from a client right away because that takes me off my task. They're in the 3 to 4 p.m. slot, and they can wait a couple hours before I respond. It's not going to hurt them to not get an answer right away, even though that feels like really urgent. It's not that important. It doesn't have to be handled. I mean, it is important. It's not urgent. It's a perceived urgency. And so they can
It's a
wait.
quadrant 3.
Yep, they can wait a
It's a
couple
quadrant 3,
hours.
yeah.
I need to complete my important work first, and I'll get to them later.
Okay. Good, man. Yes, that obviously by you understanding what deviates you from your work and having and acknowledging it,
Yes.
once the moment comes, but you have to make a decision. You have to make it. A lot of people, what we do a lot is that we say, okay, we're going to do this, but then we don't respect our own laws, our own rules.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a mistake we make. And what happens is that it becomes a habit. And habits are repetitive. So if you didn't follow through once, most likely you're not going to follow through again because it becomes a habit. So it doesn't matter what you tell yourself, your habits are going to kick in.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not going to respect that one area. And so, but once we have the awareness, this is something that I want to change. You don't change monumental. You change little by little.
Yes.
Right? You make little. Okay, I'm gonna respect this one thing because I know that I can walk for 5 minutes. I can walk for 10 minutes.
Sure.
And this is gonna be my fitness. I'm gonna do for 10 minutes. I'm gonna walk from this time to this time. Or maybe you don't want to set a time because you don't want to. But I'm gonna at least intentionally go out for a walk for 10 minutes.
Yes.
And then that's something. And then you start respecting that. But then what happens is the opposite as well. Once you start respecting that one thing, then you start gaining more trust in yourself.
Right.
And then
absolutely.
Yeah, and then you can add more stuff. And that's how it starts. It's a snowball effect, Seth.
Yes.
That you start little. It's a snowball effect that it'll continue to grow and grow. I didn't get to this where anything that I do is like, nah. If I show you a picture of me where I was 5 years ago, I gained a lot of weight. I was like 40, 50 pounds, and I was distracted and I was just indulging
Mm-hmm.
and, comfortable. And comfort will comfort is not your friend.
I agree.
Now, Seth, let's talk about the last pillar, which is fulfillment.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this pillar is in how, in how we give back in any area, with time, or do we support a cost or anything, from a level from 1 to 10, like, you know what, I don't really give, and I don't really give time to anybody. To a 10, I'm like, bro, I mean, I can't really think of anything else that I can do with, I'm already giving to my capacity. I serve here, I do this, because at the end of the day, that's how we find fulfillment.
Mm-hmm.
The Bible talks about it's better to give than to receive.
Yes.
And when we give, whether it's our time or our finances or any resources that we have, we get blessed even more with anything, So tell me about that pillar in your life.
Sure. Man, I'd probably rate myself like a 3 or 4.
Okay.
And it's really odd to say that because I don't feel like I live an unfulfilling life by any means. But it's what I'm hearing is this is almost like contribution. Like, am I contributing to the world and to other people the way that I would like? The answer is no, absolutely not. There's a whole lot more that both my wife and I want to do. And part of the reason I would rate myself so low is because there's a lot of stuff that my wife wants to do that I need to be able to enable her, put her in a position that she can actually do that. Like, for example, she loves mission trips. And so I
Mm.
need to put her in a position where either she can do that or we can do that as a family.
Mm.
Simple stuff. Our pastor right now, he's prepping for a new sermon series going into 2026. And he wants to focus a lot on local missions. And what he means by that is not necessarily like a missions organization doing a mission trip or activity or anything like that. He's talking more about, okay, how do we be neighborly? How do we
Mm.
intentionally make an impact with the people that we're around every day and take for granted? So it's just stuff like, do you know all your neighbors' first and last names? Like, do you know what they do for a living? Do you know how many kids they have? Like, do they have pets? Like, what are their big struggles in life? Like, have you spent any time with them? Um, and so stuff like that. Like, one of the things that I love doing and I would love to be able to do more. And the great thing about this is it's not really a financial thing. It's just making the decision to do it, is just having people over for dinner. Say,
Mm.
hey, we'd love to have you over for dinner. Spend some time getting to know each other a little more. And whether that's someone in our church or whether that's our neighbor down the road, just being able to pour into people's lives, because I mean, the world now is so it's gotten so high tech. People are still people, and we still need the high touch. And so to have someone intentionally, I feel like one of the most effective contributions that you can make in someone's life is intentionally giving them your time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's way more valuable than giving them
Mm.
money.
That's right.
Um,
That's right.
because ultimately time is more valuable than money, because you can always
Mm-hmm.
go out and make more money. We can't make any more time.
That's right, bro. That's right, man. You see, we talking about time, because you brought a really good point there. We can't control time. we can only command our attention.
Yes.
And our attention is what gives value to our time. And if our attention is shattered, our time is worthless.
Yeah.
But if our attention is focused, our time is powerful. So and it goes back to the quadrant of time management.
Mm-hmm.
And where we spend time, and in relationships, when we give our time and our attention to the people that matter, and also the people around us,
Mm-hmm.
and able to make that contribution, let them know, look, bro, we care. It goes a long way, because that ultimately is what we're here for.
Yeah.
We're here to serve. We're here to serve others.
Yep.
So, well, Seth, let me ask you something. Are there any books that you recommend? Any books that you are currently reading? Do you listen to books? Do you read? What do you do in that area?
Oh man, books that I would recommend. Well, there's books for different categories. Um, and a big part of how I got to where I am is reading books. I think it's a totally underrated means of self-improvement. Um, Probably the best book related to the topic of what we've been discussing today is a book called Resolved by Orrin Woodward. Um, and this was a book he had um, basically written for his kids. Like, okay, if I took all my life lessons and I wanted them um, all distilled down, like, what would I want my kids to know? Um, so he's got goes through 13 resolutions in there, and it's just a fantastic book. Um, if someone hasn't read Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, you've got to read it. And I personally think the most powerful habit in there for today's world is the first one: be proactive. Like, I am responsible. Like, don't
Mm-hmm.
blame shift. Don't point fingers at anyone else. Like, it's up to you, bro. Like, you can do it. Um, for categories like um, just personal relationships, reading something like The Disc Profiles by Robert Rome or Personality Plus by Florence Littauer, I think is extremely powerful because you understand why other people function the way that they do. Um, and it makes you so much better both in your family relationships. Um, like, my wife wasn't trying to be rude there. She's just task oriented, for example. And being able to go into a client conversation and someone's like really gruff and direct and straight to the point. Well, they're not mean. They just value tasks, and we're going to cut out the fluff and all the small talk, and they want to get right to the point. So, but yeah, I think if someone's not a reader, they definitely need to start. I'm in the middle of reading The 10% Entrepreneur by Patrick McGinnis right now. Fantastic book. I just picked up a new book that picked this up yesterday. Looked very interesting to me, and I'm looking forward to
Nice,
reading that.
nice, brother. Well, uh, I'm currently writing a book called Unleash the Proactivator.
Oh, I love it.
Yes, it's gonna be out. Thank you. It's gonna be out by the end of the year, by December.
Okay.
Um, it's gonna go through the 6 pillars, and but yeah, there's definitely a lot of the things that we talked about, and you're gonna uh, be familiar with it when you read it, if you want to read it.
Oh, I'd love to read it.
Uh,
Yeah, definitely let
Nice,
me
brother.
know when it's
Nice,
published.
awesome, brother. But yeah, So Seth, let me ask you something. Is there anything that you would like to talk to the audience to maybe give them a nudge to to get better, to maybe inspire them in some way? Anything that inspired you, anything that really moved you, what would what would you say to them?
Don't assume that you're going to be here tomorrow. Like, our life is short. The older I get, the more that I realize that it's short. Um, and so just don't take it for granted that you're going to have another decade or two or three or four. Like,
Mm,
any one of us could be gone tomorrow.
mm.
And I personally feel that God put us all here for a reason. Um, and no one's life is meaningless. Everyone has a gift and a contribution that they can make to the world and to those around them. Um, so, like, don't sit still. Get going. Do
Nice, bro.
something.
I like that. Very good, man. I like that. I like that because with that, you pretty much are telling people a few things. You're telling them to be proactive, like you said. You're telling them to have joy, right? And don't don't be somebody who holds a grudge. And yeah, because that just keeps you, you don't want to live. Let's say if it was your last day, you don't live with a grudge, man. You wanna enjoy your life, and you wanna have joy in your life.
Yep.
And and funny that you mentioned that because not too long ago I was looking for a widget on my phone, and I found another one that wasn't related to what I was looking for, and I liked it, and I just added it. It's a very simple widget that you get to add your birthday, and it counts down to your birthday.
Mm.
So it's always there. You have 179 days left. But you know what that does, Seth? Every time I'm scrolling to my phone looking for something, I see that number up there, bro. And that tells me make today count.
Yes.
Because every day is one less day.
Yep.
So I don't know. I started doing that, bro, and it's working for me. Because it keeps me accountable. It's like that number. I see it every day because we looked at our phones every day.
Mm-hmm.
So having that widget there with that number there, it used to be at 198 when I first got it. It's been almost 20 days, and I'm already at 179. I mean, so it keeps you like in your toes.
Yes.
Kind of like what you said. Make every day count, and we never know what's gonna happen tomorrow.
Yep.
Well, Seth, brother, thank you so much, man. Thank you for your time, and I appreciate you. I definitely wanna keep in touch. I have a newsletter that goes out every week. That way you know what's going on with the ProActivator. I want to do a few seminars next year. Eh, and the book's coming out. And so, yeah, the ProActivator is, I want to build a movement, of people who want to become ProActivators,
Yes.
who want to focus on each of those pillars. And people like you, man, are gonna be important for the growth of this ProActivators community. So I appreciate you having you here. Hopefully we can see each other next year, see where you're at. We want to see improvement, and I want to do a mastermind group. Once it's put together, I'm gonna send you an invitation, because one of the things that I have learned in CrossFit is that, man, having that accountability group is so important.
Yes. Oh,
You know,
absolutely.
Yeah, man, going to the group, going to that class, it's like people are there. I'm already committed. Hey, this is what I do.
Yep.
So having a mastermind group, where a ProActivators mastermind group, where we're here to get better. where are we lacking, where are we improving, what are we doing,
Yep.
so and rub some elbows, and so yeah, I want to create a mastermind group. So I want to invite people that I've had on the podcast and other people to join it.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And I think it is easily forgotten um, key to success. Like, success doesn't happen in a vacuum. Success happens when you surround yourself with other people that are striving to improve the same way that you are. And in my
Right.
personal story, like over this last 2 years, if I didn't have a group like that,
Hmm.
um, I wouldn't be where I'm at. So very, very powerful.
Nice, brother. Awesome. So you're part of the group right now, right? You're part of a group.
I am. Yep.
Oh, nice, nice. Okay. Is it online group, or how is it, or it's a local group?
So this particular group that I'm referring to is the RevForce community. RevForce is a training agency inside of the high level ecosystem, and they share a lot of these same type of principles and a lot of the same culture that you've been discussing in their
Oh,
community, and it's been
nice.
absolutely instrumental in helping me get to the point that I'm at.
Awesome, brother. That sounds really good. Yes. All right, my friend. Thank you so much for being here, Seth. This is all for today. We talked about a lot of topics, and you gave some really great insights in different ways of doing life, and also in how you improved and how you live some of your lives, and also some of the things that you want to improve as well. So it helps out all around, right? The people that are going to listen to you, and also as you want to improve in certain areas, and how that have that accountability. So, my friend, thank you so much for joining us, and I'll see you next time.
Sounds great. Thanks so much for having me, Gabriel. This has been fun.
You got it. Thank you.